Chessman Dan, playing chess every day until we get really good at chess. We're currently sitting at 1150. I think 59, but we should be sitting at 1152 ELO as of my last game. And as for the thumbnail of the video, this is how you play against a Sicilian defense. Right for e4, e4, c5. This is the Sicilian defense historically, and based on chess.com, I'm pretty sure Elite Chess database. C5, the Sicilian defense is the most common response to the king's pawn opening, right? So they prevent us from playing the Vienna, but no worries. I did study some of Gotham Chess's Sicilian defense course, or wide opening, and essentially he recommends a wing gambit style approach. Technically, this would be the wing gambit. However, in order for us to get started, you want B plus here. Takes, develops, I now push the pawn. Here, this is a blunder. Why is this a blunder? Because this pawn now prevents any retreating moves. The only safe retreating move for the knight. And with the proper move, I could trap the piece. And I trapped it. So now I'm up a knight. He decides to take, I take. Now my opponent just develops a queen. So we quickly transformed this Sicilian attempt to my opponent's attacking me with a queen. And to my fellow opponent's credit, he did a really good job attacking with a queen. I will push my bishop back, he develops. I decide to push forward. This is two things, and they attack the bishop, and also, I now have two pawns in the center, supported by two defenders. He takes, I take. My opponent decides to put me in check. There's different things I could do, you know, whenever you're blocking with the pawn. Genuinely, you know, it's always good to in a lot of variations, it's always good to block the pin with the bishop, because then you attack the queen. However, it would leave this bishop hanging. So I decided to block with the knight, which then fends the bishop. My opponent now attacks my bishop again, being very aggressive, and I move my bishop back. I decided to move it back this way because I want to have better vision towards the center. I'm assuming my opponent decided to play more aggressively because she lost her knight and her bishop early in the game, so she's just being very aggressive. And honestly, whenever you're losing, this is something my opponent did well. Whenever you're down material, if you want to continue to play, right, it's kind of hard to play solidly because you're just down so much material. Be aggressive. Start throwing your pieces at your opponent. My opponent takes a pawn. I move my rook because it was attacking. Now, keep in mind, even though I have a bishop and a knight over her, she has 4 pawns. So she's doing a good job getting any material that I'm leaving open. Develops her knight, develop my knight, and at the same time attacks my queen. The queen, excuse me. Opponent moves back, pinning my knight. I now castle to unpin my knight. My opponent moves, and I move my rook. I thought about, you know, my opponent was attacking my knight. Maybe I should have taken. No, it would have been an even exchange. My opponent moves, so I move, and he takes my rook. So now my opponent is up material. My opponent's up 3 points of material. But look at the evaluation bar. It's up 4.5 points of material for white. Now, truthfully, I didn't realize I had this much of an advantage. I felt like all my pieces are developed versus my opponent, so I knew I had that ahead, but I'm down on material. However, a good sign if you want to know if the material numbers are lying or not is that, okay, my opponent has 3 points of material. I developed every single attacking piece, and the only thing my opponent's attacking me is with a pawn and a knight. She's about to lose a knight. So that makes sense why, you know, I'm up so much material. I take, and now we're even game. My opponent castles, rightfully so. I attack the queen. Queen moves to the top of the key. I take the rook. So this is, I'm pretty sure it's called an X-ray, where you attack 2 things at once. Obviously, my opponent does not want to take the bishop because it's defended. This is just guaranteed material. And now I take a pawn. This probably wasn't the best. What was the best move in this position? Just center control. I decided to be aggressive as well. I was like, okay, I'm up 2 points. Let's take a pawn and also infiltrate my opponent's second rank. That was my mindset behind it. I felt like it was fine. I didn't see no danger of my opponent potentially trapping me, right? If he would have gone here, probably would have taken the queen exchange, so that way we break up the pawn. My opponent goes here. I kick the queen moves back. Develop my knight. So now I'm trying to get all my pieces in the game. This is where the action is at. So I was like, okay, I can't take this pawn, but right now I need to focus on what's happening. My opponent attacks my knight. I now check, so this probably wasn't the best. I was trying to get the queens off the board, but in hindsight, if queens get off the board, I don't know, I might have been in some trouble just because I'm down pawns. I only have 2 pawns that are in between the B and G file. And for anyone who doesn't know the rule, whenever you're in a king pawn endgame, how do you know you can guarantee yourself to promote a pawn? Well, if your pawn lies between the B and G files, you will be able to promote. There's a little more caveat to that in the sense of who gets in front of the pawn first and who has to move to the side. Nonetheless, I just counted my opponent had 3 potential promoted pawns, 4 versus my 2, so probably wasn't the best. My opponent decides to block. Now I move, checking, winning this pawn. So now I need to start chipping away my opponent's pieces. The moment my opponent denied the queen exchange, which benefits my favor, I need to make sure that I'm chipping away at any potential pawns I could promote. And that pawn was very close to becoming a pass pawn. My opponent takes the knight. Simple recapture. My opponent is attacking my bishop. But I could win a rook. Through check. My opponent takes. Now I'm up 6 points of material. I now check the opponent. And he goes here. Moving opponent king to f5 allows me to checkmate because this g5 square is attacked by both the knight and the queen. And that's just checkmate. What is the lesson for this story? The Sicilian defense is one of the most popular openings that you could play. However, it's very intricate. There's a lot of lines. And I might be afraid to let you know that even at 11, almost 1200 ELO, people don't know theory. And sometimes when you play very convoluted openings, you are playing opponents who don't play them. Therefore, you go quickly to inventing moves. And I believe, based on my short experience in chess, that it's better to play a more solid opening that allows you that flexibility versus complicated lines. However, you do you, boo.